Welcome to A Shot Between the Reels. My name is Dan. And we also have...
My name is Brendan.
That was
Start that again.
clean and professional.
Love it.
Welcome to A Shot Between the Reels. My name is Dan. And we also have...
My name is Brendan.
Hi, Brendan.
Hi, Dan.
Very tuneful. We should be reviewing a musical, shouldn't we? Really?
We should. But we're not. Not even close to a musical.
No. Maybe one day we should, but we're yet to venture down that road. Yes, we're back again, and it's always good to see your face, Brendan.
Always, Dan. I love it. It's like a highlight of my evenings.
Oh, yes. It's that time of the week, isn't it? There you go.
It is, yeah.
So, Brendan, we have a film to discuss. Would you like to? You just reeled it off, the full title.
I did. Let's see if I can do it again.
Without notes, without reading. Close your eyes and face the screen and say it. Say the title.
We will be reviewing Harley Quinn. Oh, sorry.
He's got it wrong already.
I got it wrong already. Can you believe it? After all of that. We will be reviewing Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn.
There we go. Yes, it ends with Harley Quinn.
It does. That's where I was going on.
I'm super impressed, Brendan. Super impressed.
Can you see why they also took the title and went, yeah, we're done with that. We're just going to call it Birds of Prey.
Yeah, I don't really get it, but hey ho. Yes, so we are in the world of DC. I'm trying to think. I don't think we've watched a DC film to review yet.
No, I think we talked about superhero films before because I did recently. Well, I say recently, but if you look back at some of our other videos, you can see that I'm already going through a Marvel marathon, which I have already finished a while back, an MCU marathon. And every now and then I like to visit a good superhero film, which is cool. We haven't really talked about DC ones, have we?
We had a brief discussion about the Schneider cut in the early days,
right? Yeah.
There was a trailer. I have yet to bother. I will be honest. I kind of feel like I know that it's going to be very different from the Joss Whedon effort.
Yeah.
But how much can one polish a turd? I don't know.
It remains to be seen. I'm willing to see someone try, I'll be honest. So
I'd love to see Zack Snyder try to polish a turd.
That might make a more interesting film.
I feel like, in essence, all he's doing is swallowing what Joss Whedon did as a turd and then trying to regurgitate it into something new. And we're going to see whether it's still a steaming pile of poop.
So we're going to see a regurgitated turd coming out on screen. I'm all for that.
Yeah. So we'll see. Yes. So shall we go for a star rating?
Let's do it.
I mean, there's an element of this. I mean, who knows what's going on at Warner Brothers and DC? They seem to have very little coherent plan for what they're trying to do.
Yep.
But they knew, one thing they did know from Suicide Squad was that Harley Quinn was successful. And people liked Harley Quinn. Yeah. And that's why we brought ourselves to this film. So, Brendan, tell us what you gave Birds of Prey.
I gave Birds of Prey 3 stars.
Ooh, 3 stars. Brendan, I have literally just finished this film 10 minutes ago, as you know. So it's fresh off the bat, as you said earlier. And I am also going to give this film 3 stars.
Nice.
Again.
Love it.
I think, yes, it's an interesting one to grapple with. There's some good things about this film, I would definitely say. There's things I enjoyed.
Definitely, yeah.
So I'm intrigued to know what you enjoyed as well, Brendan. But do you want to give us a bit of the plot?
Yeah, a bit of the plot is, as you can imagine, we are closely focused around Harley Quinn, being that she appears in the original title. And the idea is that she's fresh off a breakup with Joker. So if you follow any of Batman, particularly, like, say, Harley Quinn was, I think, originally introduced in the animated series. So something from our youth. By Bruce Timm, and I believe it's someone else that wrote her. But basically, the idea of Harley Quinn's character, she originally kind of works in Arkham Asylum. She meets the Joker, falls madly in love with the Joker, quite literally goes mad, and then has like the transformation, turning her into like her original costume is like the Jester costume type thing.
Yeah.
All in one thing. Yeah. And then so we go from like that, and then this is the more, I suppose, modern interpretation. So it's taken slightly from, they also did the Arkham games, the Arkham Asylum games, which are very good if you're into games. And they kind of redesigned effectively what she was like, what she looked like. But this film more follows that kind of redesign of the character, and that she has fresh off a breakup with the Joker, and she's trying to find herself, where her place is in the world. And along that journey, there's also one of the lesser known of the Rogues Gallery, Batman's Rogue Gallery, and Black Mask, who's your main villain in this film. And he, through one way or another, wants to get hold of this girl on the street, and both Harley Quinn and basically another of the Rogues Gallery, these different kind of almost like anti-heroes, I suppose, slight heroes, are trying to save this girl by the end of the film. They're all coming together, and they are known as the Birds of Prey. That is the group.
Just told us the story. Love it.
Yeah. The whole story.
The whole story. Done.
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah, more or less.
Brilliant. Yeah, very good. So so it's a lot of this is Harley Quinn's story. So there's a lot of Margot Robbie. I said already about sort of from the well, it's just Suicide Squad.
Yes.
Obviously they're remaking that.
They are.
but still with Margot Robbie in.
Yes.
She's the only survivor, I believe.
Yes, they knew she did well, so why not keep her, I guess.
There might be others that survived, but I feel like she's the main one. So yeah, they kind of scrapped that. But I'm pretty sure you see sort of her transformation in that film, if I remember.
So. Yeah, you do. So I mean, you see, I like the playback of her story. Yeah, because the playback of her story in this one it's all done with like animation, isn't it? Which is quite, it's nice. It feels very in tune with the character. But I will touch upon this just briefly. I feel like the tone was all over the shop in this film. I don't know if you felt that, but it's
yeah, I think there are times where it feels a bit muddled, for sure.
Because it has those moments where it truly shows the seedy underbelly of Gotham, which I actually really enjoyed. The more the characters swearing, don't necessarily have any problem with that, because I think it's more realistic of what it would be like. And Victor Zsasz feels menacing. Like, if you know enough about the Rogues Gallery, the idea of him like cutting people's faces off and all of the rest of that.
I like that.
That feels in tone. But then you've got all of her like wacky dialogue over the top, often happening with like almost like it's a scrapbook of her life, isn't it?
That's what I wasn't a massive fan of the narration, if I'm honest. And there's a few times sort of nearer the start where you kind of have like the fast forwarding and rewinding and going back and telling bits of the story. It was okay, but it kind of bugged me a bit.
Yeah.
It kind of takes you out of the film a bit.
It does.
Going back, Zsasz I thought was great, and I actually think probably for me, Ewan McGregor steals the film a bit. There's not enough of him.
He's great. He's really good, because Black Mask isn't actually like a major villain really in Batman, but the way that he plays him makes it
Yeah.
He makes it pretty good, I think.
Yeah. And I kind of like how he kind of just gets more and more angry and crazy as the film gets on. Like, by the end, he's just a lunatic.
Yeah, feels menacing. He does feel menacing in his own way, but he's also, they play him a little bit for laughs as well. But
yeah, and I really enjoyed watching Ewan McGregor sort of chew up scenery. I just thought that was worth watching. It's worth watching just for that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's good, really good.
So yeah, there's an element that I feel like he kind of steals the film a bit, which is, I don't know. Obviously, it's kind of like a girl power film. So yeah, sorry, ladies. That's how I feel. But he's kind of steals the show.
He's good. He's very good. I think you got the acting performances are nothing necessarily to be sniffed at in this film. I think they did a good job, and you can tell they care about the source material. That's what's important. They do care about it. Whether or not, my argument would be is that they were maybe trying to say a little bit too much for what this film actually is, trying to make too much of a statement when they could have put it in another film and it might have been better suited. But I'm the wrong person to talk to about it, being upfront, because I'm more of I really like Batman. I really like the universe. I like what it tries to say. And I think there are films, and indeed, I think the animated TV show is possibly one of the best representations of what's in the comic books and in the graphic novels on screen. They get the tone right. Visuals are really good. And you got some of your best deliveries of things like the Joker through Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy being Batman and Bruce Wayne. All of that stuff is good. It's really good. And it's an animated show, but that should not be held against it. Is really, if you ever get a chance to see any of that stuff that they've done animated wise, Warner Brothers have been really on the ball when it comes to that stuff. And so for me, it kind of makes anything where they don't handle it live action to be a slight betrayal. And I think they're always trying to recapture a bit of the magic that you get from Nolan's Batman as well. Again, a different interpretation, but still, I think arguably very good.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It always feels a bit weird, and it's similar with Joker, the recent Joker film, where you have a film set in Gotham with Batman characters, but no Batman. You almost feel like, when's he going to show up? You know, that's just me. Like you say, like I really enjoy the Batman character, so it just feels a bit frustrating and a bit, but.
And he would show up, wouldn't he? Let's be honest. With all of this stuff that's happening, he would show up. So it's.
Well, where is Bruce Wayne on holiday?
Really? Yeah. Yeah. Just a massive holiday.
Or just like, I can't be bothered dealing with someone else at the moment. This stuff's small fry.
Basically.
I don't know. I mean, it's not in the film, but Suicide Squad. How did you feel about that as a film?
So, full confession, I have not seen Suicide Squad.
OMG.
I know, I need to. It is on my list to see. I think from what I gather about it, it seems very laden with its own issues.
Yeah.
How they handle it is. I don't know how I would feel about it going in with the knowledge that I have. Maybe I would be more forgiving on it.
Okay, so this is interesting. So you, having not seen that, how did you feel about Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn?
You can tell that she likes that character and she does play it well. Yeah. I think in terms of what the characteristics that embody Harley, I think she's pretty on the nose with it. It's pretty good. I can't fault it too much. She's a good actress. That's not mince our words here. We know that she's a good actress, and I do think she does a great job as Harley.
Can you understand how she got a spin-off film of her own?
Yes,
you can get that vibe because
because she's she plays it really animated.
Yeah.
But then when you consider where the character comes from, quite literally animated,
Yeah.
I think it sets the tone very well. She is right inside of that universe.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. Some of the characters are good. It's just maybe they're not enough. Like Huntress is in this film. Huntress is a really good character.
She's not in
but
enough.
She's not given like nearly enough screen time, not even close to it, and not given enough time to get really good. Like there's some stuff they really nail in this film. I think fight choreography is pretty
Really
fantastic.
Good. Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's really good. So you get these great wide angle shots, and you can see all the action. You can totally follow it. You feel the impact of the hits. All of that stuff is good. Her assault on the police station,
brilliant,
really cool.
Yeah,
really, really good. I love
the bit with the baseball bat where she breaks the guy's legs. It's so good, and also
like hits it the one way, then hits it the other way. Yeah,
the cocaine where like there's she's hiding behind the massive pile of cocaine, and she's just like.
He sniffs it in, and then it's like super powered to take them on. It's great.
It's really good.
It's great, and that's what I mean. Sometimes it is totally nailing certain aspects of this film, and it's good. But I agree. I think the voiceover stuff is overplayed.
Yeah.
To probably the detriment of the film ultimately, because it doesn't need to be there. It's like pandering to the audience. They only really could have done with it just in the beginning of the film. We know it's
I wonder,
it's telling her story. I get it. I do get it.
I wonder whether they kind of wanted to be able to say, you know, you don't need to see Suicide Squad to be able to see this, and perhaps thought actually the voiceover narration helps. I don't know. I mean, I asked the question about sort of why you know whether you think she, you know, carries it off and can have her own spin-off, because having watched Suicide Squad, I have seen it, albeit a few years ago now. Yeah, she kind of steals that film completely.
Yeah.
Completely. But there's an element in that film, she steals it because of the banter and the interaction she has with the other characters.
Yeah.
And so in this film, because she's kind of carrying it, she still has some banter, and that's there. But for me, she wasn't quite as entertaining as a character because of that dynamic. Because before, the dynamic was kind of like she's around these kind of alpha males and she's basically owning them. And that's kind of part of why she's such a great character. And also you got the dynamic with the Joker, which is really interesting as well. So yeah, I'm not sure that element quite worked as well, which is strange because I probably wouldn't necessarily give 3 stars for Suicide Squad. I can't remember what I gave it. I enjoyed Suicide Squad more than I thought I would, but then I went into it expecting it to be absolutely awful. And actually, I for one, I mean, when you watch it, you got to tell me, I don't actually mind Jared Leto's Joker that much. I don't hold that character so preciously that if someone wants to mess around with it, that wouldn't make me angry.
I mean, ultimately, everyone changes the Joker, right? They do a different take on him. I think when Mark Hamill took the role, it had already been played by Cesar Romero and had also been played by famously mustachioed Joker, and then also had been played by Jack Nicholson. Now, I believe, if I remember correctly, I think he was told they wanted him to play it more like Jack Nicholson, because Jack Nicholson at the time had given a very iconic performance in Batman, and it was, it was known. People really loved it. But he took entirely his own spin on it. And for me, canonically, when I see the Joker, I always have his performance in the back of my mind, because that's what I imagine. He's the perfect mix of, he is kind of insane in the role, but he is genuinely funny. And I think it's meant to be played for laughs. He is meant to be funny, but also psychotic. And obviously now there's been quite a few different depictions of the Joker on screen. I mean, I'm interested to know your opinion on it. Obviously, for a lot of people, I think it's going to be Heath Ledger that they would call their Joker, because it's, you know, he did give, again, a very iconic performance. But I grew up with having watched Jack Nicholson's Joker as well, and that was really my Joker from when I was younger. So I don't know. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think, I think Jack Nicholson, supremely iconic growing up in that role. And I know enough about the Mark Hamill stuff, having not really watched it, but I know enough to know that it's widely respected, and lots of people sit in your camp and go, can't really touch what he's done. Heath Ledger, crikey! I mean, Dark Knight's one of my favourite films, so
it's very good. It's very good.
It's I mean, I still remember watching that film for the first time, opening night at the cinema, and just being like, what the hell have I just watched? This is just unbelievable. And so I mean, well, I guess, and even Joaquin Phoenix, I mean, I really like that film.
I did, yeah.
It's a class film.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure if I am completely sold on having an origin story for the Joker, but I think if you're going to do it, they did it as well as they could.
I think so. While, you know, obeying to, I think, the laws of probably more Nolan's universe rather than anyone else's. But
perhaps. I think there's an element that Jared Leto gets a really harsh time, if I'm being honest, because they took him kind of like a he's almost like a gangbanger, gangster Joker, with his tats and his teeth and all that stuff. And
I think that's
I didn't mind it because he's menacing.
Yeah.
And actually he's a villain, so fine. But you can't please everyone. And when fans decide they don't like it and they go online, you know, it's that's all you hear, isn't it? All you hear is the negative noise, really. So I mean, there's an element that you kind of, we already said it with Batman, you kind of wish you saw the Joker.
That's what I mean.
Talk about him so much.
he's name dropped, isn't he? So heavily in this film. I just kept thinking, so are we gonna? Will there at least be a show of him somewhere? And they don't show him ever.
Yeah.
You could argue stylistically that's perhaps a choice, that they said she's quite literally broken up from him. So why would they choose to show him? Yeah. The story's not about him, it's about her.
Yeah.
So,
and his character's probably too big to kind of, he would overshadow and kind of those scenes.
Yeah.
And I guess there's an element that, like, do you get Jared Leto back knowing that people kind of hated that performance? You're going to put some people off going to see it.
Exactly. It has a negative impact, doesn't it?
It's a business thing, business decision, probably more than anything.
Yeah. But it's, I need to watch the other film in relation to this, because I'd be interested to see how it pairs in comparisons. But it's, for me, I think it fully deserves those 3 stars, because again, there's some bits that I really thought really held it up and were funny or were played in a particular way that I respected what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
But it can't earn higher than that, in my opinion, just because there's too much that doesn't really work for it. If you see what I mean. They maybe tried a little bit too hard, or they could potentially, I think they could, it's not a really long film, but maybe they could have trimmed the fat even more, really.
Yeah, I think you're right. Could have made it even leaner and it would have made it better. I think, you said, like, it's funny. I think there are certainly several moments where I laughed out loud.
Yeah.
Because it's genuinely funny.
Yeah.
And
it's that odd balance, isn't it, of creepy as well. It can be really creepy and quite
Yeah,
quite grim, I think.
quite dark. And actually, the bits where it goes dark, I really like. There's the scene where Black Mask, or he's not got the mask on yet. Roman, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Roman Sionis.
Yeah, they've got Harley Quinn, and they bring her in for him to talk to, and it's all dark, and you get all these like the goons are around. That's shot brilliantly. That's a really sort of great sequence.
Yeah.
And you start to see Sionis's character kind of go a bit mad, and the bit in the club where he gets the girl to stand on the table.
Yeah, again, really creepy, right?
Really
It's very
creepy, really dark. I was
it
like,
feels very menacing in that moment.
yeah. That obviously it's not enjoyable to watch that kind of stuff, but at the same time, that was the stuff that was making it really interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah,
when he feels unhinged as a character, which I think is
it makes it unpredictable.
It's just, and the fact that they did so much with Black Mask as a character when he's really a fairly unknown, I would say, really, and that a Rose Gallery is not taught all that much about. So the fact that they chose him when they could have done any number of potential people from the Rose Gallery, it's interesting.
The relationship with the girl is really interesting. That bit was cool. I didn't like the cop character. I found her really annoying. So like when she gets suspended, it's just like, suspend her. She's rubbish. But yeah, I don't know. I just found her character a bit annoying.
Did you like Black Canary?
Yeah, I thought she was great, and actually, she kind of gets better and better and better as the film goes on. And near the start, I was kind of like, "Where's this going?"
Yeah, she blossoms a bit more as a character later on, I think.
Yeah,
and you get to see the actual Black Canary as well.
Which is cool. And there's an element that when the birds of prey become the birds of prey, it kind of works. Kind of works okay. It's not the worst kind of ending. It comes together fine. I think Huntress, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, I think is, like we said, a bit underused.
Yep.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead has in her films, I think she's got a bit of an Ellen Ripley, Sigourney Weaver vibe that isn't used enough. So I think she's too big a sort of name, I think, really, to sort of have such a small role.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because she's a good actress and she always gives a good performance. So it feels like a bit of a bit role for someone of that caliber to be in, unless she was really attracted to the project.
Yeah,
but
the other thought I had with her storyline, it really reminded me of Tarantino. This kind of vengeful character. It's kind of it's very Kill Bill, almost, going out and killing all these people. And even the way some of that stuff is shot and edited around the sequence, it's very Tarantino inspired. And I don't know quite. It didn't quite work for me.
No,
as a Tarantino fan, it was too pastiche for me.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's not a bad film. It's worth watching. I didn't hate it, and I kind of enjoyed.
Ringing endorsement.
Didn't hate it.
Ringing.
Enjoyed it. Loved bits of it. There you go.
Yeah, that's what I would sum it up as well. There's bits that I really loved. I was really enjoying myself. Most of it, just okay. And it's enough that I could say we'd probably still recommend to give it a go if you're in that universe, or you enjoy a superhero film that you can kind of switch off to a bit. Doesn't require a whole lot of brain power.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out where it stands in recent DC efforts.
Remind me of recent DC efforts.
Do you want me to remind you? Okay, here we go. Things like Man of Steel. I think from then, that's kind of where it restarted, didn't it?
Yeah.
Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Dawn of Justice, Justice League, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, What else have we had? We had Shazam.
I mean, most of these
and Suicide Squad as well.
Most of these are pretty forgettable. I think Shazam was not too bad, but that's because Zachary Levi is like
it's funny
carrying that entire film on his shoulders.
Yeah, too much. It carries it too much, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah, you got Mark Strong in that film as well, but he's typecast a lot of the time, but he is a great actor.
I love Mark Strong. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Aquaman's good fun.
Aquaman was good fun. I didn't hate it, and I think it knew what it was trying to do, and I kind of respected it for that. It was campy, but in a kind of cool way.
Yeah.
And then the other ones,
Wonder Woman's okay.
Wonder Woman's all right. Wonder Woman 1984.
I haven't seen that yet. You have.
I have.
Did you?
Didn't love it particularly, no.
And going back to Man of Steel, I had a real bugbear with that film for quite a long time.
I've still got a bugbear at that film. You can't tell me it's good.
So many plot holes.
You can't tell me it's good.
I love like actually, you know what? Okay, so Man of Steel. I'm gonna get this off my chest. I think the opening sequence with Russell Crowe, brilliant. I just want that as a film. Scrap Superman. I want a prequel where it's just Russell Crowe, Superman's dad, and that storyline.
Well, you want the Jor-El.
Give it to me. Jor-El.
You want that, the prequel film.
Yeah. And the other thing that's really good in that film is Kevin Costner. So the dads are brilliant.
Yeah, they're great. But they're great actors, Dan. So of course.
Henry Cavill was fine as well. Henry Cavill was fine.
Yeah.
Amy Adams should not be in that film. I like Amy Adams, but she is too old. With due respect, sorry, but
you think so?
She's not low. She looks 10 years older than Henry Cavill.
Fair enough.
I
don't know the age gap between them. I didn't think it was.
And how can you cast? What's his name as Zod? I can't remember his name. My mind's gone blank.
My mind's gone blank. I was going to say he's too Michael good. Shannon, isn't it? Yeah.
Michael Shannon. Michael Shannon is one of the best actors in the business.
He's great.
How can you mess up his character?
I was going to say, that opening sequence, the bit that made me laugh the most, I just kept laughing at it when I saw it the first time, is when he says about saying, I will find him. And he keeps repeating it. He just keeps repeating it until he's like shouting it. I thought, what was the direction when he was being told to direct this? You just keep shouting like there's a helicopter flying above your head.
It's the haircut as well. I think the haircut's not great on that one. So
it's a bit. I mean, they're trying to emulate the original.
Yeah, just
aren't they? I think that's what they're going for. It's that no one can convince me that film's not a turd. I think because they made decisions about Superman in that film which anger me so much. Because Superman is all about saving people. That's his shtick. He's like on the straight and narrow. He always saves people. He's always there. He is the beacon. He is the beacon for Metropolis. That's his whole thing. And yet in that film, does he give a dog's whiff about anyone? No, he does not. He doesn't care. He straight up bashes through buildings. He levels most of Metropolis. He completely destroys Smallville. And he even and then at the end, of course, because they couldn't have it any other way but to make a statement, he snaps Zod's neck. I mean, that ain't my soup. That's not my soups. That's not Superman. Okay. It's not.
I think to be honest, by the time I got to the point where he breaks his neck, I'd lost the will to live. I just wanted to leave.
And it's taken so long to get there. It's taken so long at that point. It's a long film.
I do. One thing also I do like about that film is Hans Zimmer. The theme.
The soundtrack. Can't knock the soundtrack. Hans
was in the zone, as he always is.
I mean, he definitely was in the zone on that one. He wasn't phoning it in at all. That is.
Although I would say that when it came to Dawn of Justice, I felt like he was just like, on this one, I'm just going to do the same soundtrack and see if anyone notices. How much are you paying me? Fine, yes. This film's a turn. Doesn't matter.
I think you know the moment where when he does the flying scene in Man of Steel. Because it's like fist to the ground, and you have the music swelling as the stones are like swelling around his hand, and that whole scene where, because I worked at the cinema around that time that film came out, and I listened to that soundtrack so much because I just hear it blaring in trailers and then blaring inside of the screens, and I always remember being like, man, it feels epic. I mean, it's meant to feel epic, but it is really epic, especially so loud on like an IMAX screen. It's good. And then they made Justice League, and they
just got worse and worse.
We could go forever on talking how bad that film is, but it's just in comparison, Birds of Prey is actually pretty damn decent.
Yeah,
I think
dare I say, measuring it up to MCU, we don't need to do that, do we?
We don't, because that would involve us kind of getting into a whole thing of working exactly where it would lie, but it
wouldn't sit in the top 10.
And MCU have done their homework. They know their tone in those films. They know what they're trying to do. They're making a connected universe. Many could argue that they make quite formulaic films, but they know what they're trying to do. And that's what comics did. And these DC films, they have got a plethora of such wonderful, amazing characters. They've got rich stories. They've got so much to pull from. And yet, apparently, they have no idea how to do it. And it's upsetting because these characters are great.
Yeah.
Do them justice.
Don't Justice League.
Don't do the Dawn of Justice. Just give them justice.
Right. Here it endeth the rant. Let's call it. But I think you're right. It's a fair crack of the whip with old Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, would I call it a superhero film? Comic book film. There we go.
Comic book film. Yeah, that's fair. Comic book film.
It's not really a superhero film. Hey.
They give it a good crack of the hammer down. That's something like they slam the hammer down.
Get the comedy hammer out. Or the mallet from the old carnival. Yes, the carnival mallet. There we go. I hope people have enjoyed us ranting about Superman whilst reviewing Birds of Prey. But there we go. Yes, that's what you get.
That's how it goes down on a shot between the reels. That's how it can go. Sometimes.
Who knows where we're going to shoot? Yes, there we go. Well, it's been a pleasure, Brendan.
And always a pleasure. It's wonderful.
Never a chore. It's a delight. Happy movie watching, and we'll be back next time. Stay safe. Bye.
Bye.